Now, if you remember that last time I have already showed you the GUI interface of my Stealthwatch management console, and we have seen how to do the installation and how to set up your management console. Now, before I proceed, I just want to make sure I know that already the topic is being captured on my flow record because I'm getting the all the details from my flow recorder on my Stealthwatch management control that confirms that the Stealthwatch uh, flow collector is working good and fine. But in case if you want to do troubleshooting, what you do, like how do you do the troubleshooting, that I want to know whether the net flow collector is actually capturing the traffic or not. Okay, so you can see that it's saying 0 for now. So let's give it some time until it generates the traffic. And also if I go back to my map PC and I do have that one. I will just do one thing. I will re-authenticate that one. And also I will go to my switch one and I will clear that authentication session. No sessions found. And I will do the same thing for the I'm just trying to authenticate once again so that I can generate some traffic. And I will go to this one, disable a thing. Okay. Now, I said that if you want to know that if you want to do the troubleshooting whether the packets have been captured or not on your flow collector, what you can do is that you can go to the central management. So how to go to the central management, click on this one and click on central management. And this is where you will see that all your NetFlow collectors and different devices which are been up and running. So select your NetFlow configuration and click on view appliance statistics. Now again, it will ask you to the login. If you remember that the same login, that is admin and your password, which you have changed while installing. So log in into your flow collector now. One important thing here I want to say you that if you are using any version below 7.3, okay, so if you are using any version below 7.3, you do have an option over here in the configuration, advanced option. So you used to have an advanced option somewhere here. So now in this option, it allows you to enable the what type of traffic to be captured. Okay, what type of traffic should be captured. For example, you do have an option to enable that you need to capture the HTTPS traffic and you want to capture about the HTTPS payload. So payload means I am referring to the metadata so that it can get some data from that payload and it can help you to examine, do the deep packet inspection or DPI inspection, deep packet inspection. But after 7.3 and above, you don't see any more option. But basically, you are not able to do anything on your flow collector. Everything will be inherited from my Stealthwatch management console to the net flow collector or to the flow sensor or to the UDP director or to your data store if you're using 7.4 version. Everything will be inherited from the Stealthwatch management console. Now, since I am using 7.3, if you see that I don't have many options to edit over here. So if I click on this one, naming and DNS, it will say that you can only are able to clear, but apart from that, you are not able to do anything. But I am able to check whether my DNS is working or not. For my example, I will be selecting that csql.com. That's my DNS I am posting on my lab. So click on resolve now. So you can check only whether your settings are working good and fine, but you cannot make any changes. If you want to change your DNS, you cannot do it from here. So you see that it is now resolving the IP address and it is giving you the details that DNS lookup is successful. Now, what if I go back to again naming a DNS, and this time I will look for google.com. Hopefully I should have access to internet, and I will click on resolve. All right, so it is now resolving. That's good. So you are able to see the output. If you are not able to see the output of DNS, then there is a problem with the DNS configuration. So again, whatever you do, you have to go back to your StealthWatch management console and do the settings. So we'll come back to that one later. Now, if I want to change the timing also is the same thing. I'm not able to change from here. It will say that, okay, go to central management and change these settings. So everything should be done by the central management. Now, when I click on this one, I went into the view appliance statistics. But if you want to actually change the settings, you have to go from the edit appliance configuration. So this is where it will allow you to change the settings now. If you want to change your DNS settings, it will allow you to change from this option. If you want to change your NTP server, it will allow to change it from here. But I said that it
so this is central management.
Yes. But I said that it will inherit from the StealthWatch management console, but it will not allow you to do any configuration directly on the NFC. So this is your flow collector login page. This is your actual flow collector, but it does not allow to do any configuration from here. But if you go back to StealthWatch centralized management, from StealthWatch, it will allow you to do the configuration, change the configuration from here. All right. So this is how, if you want to change, so this is where you will be changing. You see that appliance, under the appliance, you are able to see so many options and you have to scroll down every time. That's another issue over here. Like if you want to enable certain things, you just have to scroll down things, general. So instead of scrolling down, what you can do, go to the configuration menu and you can see that within appliance, what options do you have? You can see all the options over here. Within network services, what options do you have? You can see each and everything here. And within general, what options do you have? Everything can be seen. And it's same for everyone. If I go back to my StealthWatch management console now, this is my flow collector. So I will just log out from here. And if I go back to my StealthWatch management console, click on that. So I'm back on centralized management now. If I go to my SMC, if I go to my edit appliance configuration, you see that same options. All right. So whatever you changes you want to make, you can make only via StealthWatch management console, centralized management. From here, you can make the configuration changes, but you cannot make directly onto the network collector. All right. So now the first thing what you do when your installation is being done, you're capturing the traffic, your basic foundation setup is already up and running now. The next thing is that you want to make sure that you do have an SSH access to your StealthWatch management console. Click on StealthWatch management console, click on edit configuration. And if you want to enable the SSH under the appliance, you will see that enable SSH and enable the root SSH. Now these are two different things. So if you enable the SSH, so if you create any users, this is for the user. And if you enable the root SSH, this is with the login username as root. And once you log in with this root, you have all the access, full access like super user. Now, this should not be given to anyone. You have to be very careful with the root, because when you have access to the root, that means you are having access to the CLI. But you are giving SSH to this one, they do not have the CLI access. But they can do some basic configuration or basic troubleshooting. So this is what it is, but you have to be very, very careful with respect to your root uh, SSH access, because you are able to allow the CLI. If someone is having a good knowledge about the Linux, he is able to make some changes over here in his Linux kernel, because since all the self-work management uh, technologies or applications are being hosted on the Linux kernel, the one who has a good knowledge about the Linux, they can make some basic changes under the main operating system. So basically, this is your Linux kernel, and up top of that, you will have your Stealth Watch management console or netflow collector or flow sensor application running. So for this application, so this is the base. So that's the reason you have to be very careful when giving access to the root uh, SSH. So this is how you will enable the root SSH. And if you want to make any network changes, click on this one. But here you cannot make any changes. To make the network changes, again, you have to take the SSH connection from that one. So if I go back to my putty, not in this one, I have to go in the management to see. I think I do have that's good. Right, so I will go to my putty and I will just say that SMC dot. See that it's not allowing me yet. So what I can do, I can go to my ESXi. After going to my ESXi, I can take the console access. So currently I did not I did not made the changes. So that's the reason it is not allowing me the SSH, but I have enabled both of them. Then we will do the testing. Now coming to the this one TLS, if you see that I do have a certificate error over here, right? If you want to install the root certificate and remove the certificate error, this is where you will update your identity certificate. So basically, how this one is work is like this. I do have my certificate authority, and it does have its self-signed certificate. So this self-signed certificate will be acting as a root CA certificate. So first you have to download this root CA certificate, and after downloading the root CA certificate, what you have to do is that you have to, yeah, client details. So this is where you will be. I think this is where. Let me have a look. So once you download the root CA certificate, you go back to maybe in general. Yeah, you see that Trusto. This is where you will first install your certificate, number one step. So whenever you download the root CA certificate, you will install your root certificates saying that to Stealth Management Console. This is my certificate, root CA certificate, which you have to trust. That means any certificate issued by this particular CA, you should be trusting. That's what you're saying. So once you get the certificate from them, install into your StealthWatch Management Console. That's where you will add your new certificate. Click on Add New, and you can generate your CSR. Now, what does it mean? The CSR is like you are providing your details over here. Uh, so you're providing your details over here, saying that okay, for what you're using the details. Like my host name is Stealthwatch Management Console.sysabl.com. This is my common name, and my organization name is my Sysabl, and my organization unit is my IT, and this is my email. And where are you located? Like I'm located in Australia. I'm located in so and so.
What's CSR?
I'm just coming to that one. So when you generate the CSR, you are providing information for your certificate. Okay. So currently, if you see that I do have an error over here with the certificate error, right? Now to remove this error, what I did was first I downloaded the root certificate and I have installed into my StealthWatch Management Console, trusted store, trust to store. So this was my first tool now. Now I want to take a certificate from this CA. I need a certificate. To need a certificate, certificate authority will ask you, who are you? From where are you? What is your host name? What is your organization name? What is your organization unit name? So these are the details it will ask you. You have to provide all the details. So once you provide the details, your SMC will generate a CSR,
Okay.
certificate signing request. And this
Mm.
CSR will be sent to the CA, and CA will look at it and it will say, okay, I got the details what I need. So this is your certificate. It will issue and certificate. Okay, it will issue and certificate. So once you issue a certificate, and if you go back to your identity store and if you click on update, or you can say that first add the certificate over here and click on update the identity certificate. In that identity certificate, select the certificate which you got it from your CA. That's when it will do a restart now. Once you update that certificate, it will restart and it will take a lot of time. So if you have to plan yourself before you do these things, because it does take a lot of time. Now, if you remember that in the SMC, I do have two devices connected to it. One is flow sensor, one is net flow collector. These are the two things. Now, if I restart these ones, so these two will be not, you're able to communicate, but you're not able to do anything. So data will be captured by the net flow collector and the flow sensor, but they are not able to send to the SMC because SMC is down. So until it comes up, all the data will be stored in the data store. Now, if you remember, I told you that from the 7.4, you do have a centralized data store. Now, in this case, what happens is that I don't have the centralized data store. That's why until the SMC comes up, my data is piling up in my data store, correct? So if its flow collector runs out of data, then the future packets which I'm capturing, I'm not able to store. So that's the reason they have removed this they have introduced the concept of centralized data store, analytical data store, so that all the data cannot be stayed on the NetFlow collector. Instead of staying the data on the NetFlow collector, it will directly transfer to your centralized data store. From there, it will look for the deduplication and it will just send the unique package to the StealthWatch management console. All right, so it's a pretty long process. So if I click on next, and you see that it is asking you for the details, provide the details and generate the CSR. So once you generate the CSR, you go to your certificate authority. If I say that as CTPS, so go to your certificate authority, download the root CA certificate and issue the certificate. Now, when I say that I'm looking for the certificate authority can be anyone. It can be your internal CA. Now, maximum in the production, you will be using your internal CA, but no one wants to pay for the certificate and get the certificate from the Microsoft or Google or Let's Encrypt. Okay, no one wants to pay for the certificate, everything, because these are going to be staying into your own network, so you can use your own internal certificate authority. And I'm not able to ping this one. Let me check why. Or I will go with the IP address instead of that one. So before I go to IP address, let me have a look. Ping is only 10. I'm able to ping. That's fine. Okay. So this is your certificate authority in your production. Click on download CA certificate and it will ask you what kind of encryption method, means extension you want. Select to base 64 and select download root certificate authority. So once you download that certificate, you will go ahead to your StealthWatch management console, go to your general. After going to the general, go to the trust store. And in this one, click on add new. And when you click on add new, provide the name and select the certificate. So once you select the certificate is being installed. And after that, you can go ahead to the appliance, back to the appliance and generate the CSR. Add a new one and generate a CSR. So once you get the CSR, copy the content of that CSR and go to your Active Directory, click on home and select the request a certificate, click on advanced root certificate, paste your CSR over here and select the web server template and click on submit and you will get a certificate. Again, select the page 64 encoded and download the certificate. So once you get the certificate, what you have to do is that go back to your this one self-hosted management console under the appliance. Again, additional SSL or TLS client identities. You will find one CSR over here. So click on that one and click on. It might be an option of like bind the certificate, or it might be an option as to add a provide a certificate for this identity. So once you click on that one, so you will have your identity certificate. So what I will do, I will go ahead and generate each and everything, but I will not update my identity certificate. So now let's go to the first thing is first, I will go to my Active Directory, certificate authority, click on download CA certificate and click on page 64, click on download CA certificate. So you see that cert new. I will rename that one so that it will be easy for me to understand it's a root certificate. Okay, this one is rename and this one should be the root CA. Done. So once that has been done, so I will go back to my home and go back to my self-hosted management console, go to general, and first I will update my root certificate identity so that it can first. I'll click on this one and I will say that accessible root CA. Click on choose file and go to downloads and you see that this is my root CA. Click on open and click on add certificates. And I should see that accessible root CA certificate. So once this is been done, now you go back to your appliance now. After going to the appliance, click on add new, click on next. And I will say that it is selecting that 8192, your door, you can select 4096 or this is the key encryption type. The higher the encryption, it's better, but the higher you go, it will take a lot of time to issue the certificate. Organization, I'm giving my organization. Unit, I'm giving the unit. Location, I'm giving my location. And state, I'm giving my state. And I'm country code will be should be AU. And email address, I am not providing my email address. So click on generate CSR. And you see that it's in progress now. Now click on download CSR. You will be downloaded the CSR. So right click on this one and open with Notepad. You see that these are the contents of your CSR. So click on copy this one. Go back to your Active Directory, click on request certificate, click on advanced certificate and paste your CSR and your web server and click on submit. Your request ID is for the deposition message. Okay, I need to fix this one because I think I did not use my certificate authority for long term. I need to renew my CRR list, that is serial list. So I will. You see that it fixed my problem. I just published a new Delta CRR list and click on base 64, click on download certificate. Now you see that it's downloading a new certificate. I will rename that one again. And this one will be SMC identity certificate. And let's go back to our identity certificate and over here you see that continue editing. All right, so when I generate the CSR, I should be seeing the CSR, but you see that it is automatically taking me to the option say that once you generate the CSR, you can provide the certificate which is been issued by the certificate authority. So I will click here and I will say that SSL SMC and I will choose my certificate. That is this one and click on open. Certificate chain file is it's also asking for that one, but it is not compulsory, I think. Click on add identity. Okay, it is not allowing me, so you have to go back to your certificate authority, download the CA certificate and download the CA chain. So this has been downloaded. I will just rename that one again. Now, since this is a new one, so that's why I'm just going through you everything. Okay, I will say that chain root CA, and I will go back to my support management console, click on this one and chain root CA and click on add identity. Make sure the certificate is valid. We couldn't add the certificate to the trust store. Okay. Okay, I will go once again with the generating the CSR. I think it might be a little different process in this one. Okay, I will go with the 2048. Okay, it should be smc1.sysable.com. Yeah, common name it is automatically taken, so I don't need to type anything. Sysable unit will be, I don't know. It will be as no email address, generate CSR. I will delete the previous CSR. Place to certificate and this one. If I get the same error, that means that the attributes are not matching with this certificate. So I have to look for that one, the attributes, what are the different attributes on this one. So let it download. So once that download is completed, let's go to this one and go back to this one. Click on choose file. It should be ID1, right? Yeah, this one. Okay, I selected the base code as different, so that's the reason it happened. I'll go back to my close this one, go back here. It was base 64. Let me delete this one all. Go back here, choose the file. Yep, now I'm able to see. I don't know before why I'm not able to see. Now you see that it has added. I don't know why it did not add it the first time, but the second time it did add it. Now, once you got the certificate from your certificate authority, click on update identity certificate. Or again, I want to select this one. So all right, I assume that this is for the different services, the certificate. To update the identity certificate, it is going through the process in this one itself, but it was a different process in the below version. So again, the same process. Once you allow that same process, I will click on next. I will generate the CSR. I will not generate the CSR because I've already got this certificate. And I want to add this one to my identity certificate, which I'm not able to. So basically, that's the process. Again, you have to do the update identity, generate the CSR, get the certificate, and once you provided all the information, it will restart. So this is where you have to be very careful and you have to plan yourself that it will take at least 30 minutes to come up. Okay, so that's how you remove your certificate error from here. But one more thing I want to bring to your notice is that if you're using the latest Microsoft, what do you say, like Firefox? latest versions or any versions of browser, even though if you install the trusted certificate into your browser, still it will show you the certificate error. I don't know why, but it does even after providing the correct credentials, certificates, and everything. When you show that, when you see that view the certificate, so more information, and click on view certificate. So this is where you will see that your certificate details are correct, and each and everything is correct, and you have imported your root CA certificate in your browser, but still you will see that your certificate error has been not found. This is with the new browsers. Okay, with the old browser, that's good and fine, but the new browser still you will see that certificate error, even though if you have provided all the certificate credentials properly. All right, that was your certificate error. So once you remove your certificate error, you have enabled the SSH. If you go to my network service, I can change my details like SNMP details if you want to click on that one. Now, once you selected the SNMP details, that means that if your router is being configured with the SNMP, automatically it will get the details, the interface names, and each and everything, all the details from your exporters. So currently I don't have the SNMP server, so that's why I'm not providing any details. Now, if you have any syslog server, you can provide the IP address and you can provide the destination port, and you can just enable soft fail. Soft fail is if you just hover on that information and you can see that information, what do you mean by soft fail and what do you mean by hard fail. All right, you can go through
Mm.
that one, but basically when you click on syslog server, basically the port number is 514, so you have to remove the 6 from there most of the time. NTP server, if you want to add the NTP server, you can go ahead and add. If you want to add the DNS server, you can go ahead and add over here. And if you have a proxy, and if you see that I do have a proxy over here, but I did not install the WSA yet, so that's why I'm not providing any proxy details for now. Now DNS cache, that's the size, so don't worry about it. Go to general now. This is where the certificates, you can go ahead, which we just saw. And opening message, whenever you log in, if you want to show up any opening message, I will say that welcome funds for or management fund. Now, password policy, by default, this has been defined. And if you want to change the password policy, go ahead and change the password policy. Go through each and every field, or if you want to define the complexity of your password, go ahead and define the complexity. Compliance mode, don't worry for now, that one, that is nothing to do. Session settings, don't worry. SNMP, this is for the email. Yes, I do have that one. So SNMP server will be 172.16.1.10, and that will be running on port number 25. From email address will be stealthwatch at. So you have to make sure that this email address is been created in your email server. So if I go back to my WinDC, so if I go back to my mail server, and you can see that this is the user, it's been already created, stealthwatchaccessible.com. Okay, so username will be stealthwatch@accessible.com. Password will be, I don't know what password did I give. Let me reset the password again. Hey, password will be Cisco with capital C, Cisco 0123, and click on save and go back to my management, and I will say that it's Cisco 0123. Now SNMPTS unencrypted. Since my traffic is unencrypted, so that's why I'm selecting, but in the production it will be an encrypted one, whether it might be the TLS or a different encryption. External service, this is where the external service, as I told you, that these are the cognitive intelligence, which will all the details, all the telemetry will be taken to the Ireland on the cloud. So you have to be careful when you enable this one. So by default, these are the services which are being enabled over here. So enable threat intelligence feed is that just to get the updates on your latest signatures and all those things. So if you hover on that one, it will give you all the information once more. Okay, it's free to see the data from the global threat intelligence. So global threat intelligence. So before the name, before the changed the name to Threat Intelligence Suite. This was GTA. So it was like a global threat or TREATH analysis. So this was the name. That means that the globally, what type of attacks are happening and everything, the live information was shown from you for you. That these are the attacks, these are the new attacks which are going on currently, and these are the attacks which have been recognized, and these are the unrecognized attacks. Recognized and unrecognized attacks you can see over there. You can get the information about that one. So once you enable these services, again, you do have an automatic update. You should, if you are enabling this service, so you see that confidence feed confidential level. I'm not sure about this level, but you can go to the documents. And once you enable this one, click on cognitive services, and this is where you will see automatic updates. But if you disable this one, you are not able to get any updates. So by default, you will get updates for these many things. Okay, so I'm just removing and keeping it as a default. And this is the trust store. Now LDAP, this is your Active Directory, LDAP lightweight Active Directory. If you do have that one, you can go ahead and add, but you're not able to add from here. To add that one, you need to go to a different option. Go back to your dashboard, click on configure or deploy. This is where you will see the Active Directory. We'll come back to that one later on. So now you see that all the configuration has been done. I have provided all the details. So first you have to make sure that you do edit your compliance Stealthwatch Management Console before you proceed and do anything in your dashboard. So once everything is been configured within these three tabs, go ahead and click on Apply Settings. And it will show you that what are the different settings have been applied over here. Make sure cross verify that one and click on Apply Changes. And now you see that it is config changes pending. So you have to wait until this comes up. Okay, so that was your basic Stealthwatch Management Console configuration.